Well, I've just arrived at Morgan's Hill. It's one of the worst winter periods we've had for some time. And I thought, let's go for a walk. And I thought I would just talk about photography as we go a little bit. So this is the byway that we're on now. And this leads us up to Morgan's Hill. It's quite windy today, 7 degrees. It's not cold at all. Wind chill's a bit in your face, but just have to embrace that. On a summer's day, this is a fantastic walk. My God, everything is just so muddy. Birds are singing. They're not concerned about the weather. I'm out today to try to find and photograph a yellowhammer. Yellowhammers have been seen. I've got my Olympus OM1 with a Panasonic 100 to 400 lens. I've got some floods to get through here. And because the OM1 has a 2x crop on it, it's a micro 4/3 sensor. That 100 to 400 millimeter lens is the equivalent in 35 millimeter format of 200 to 800. How amazing is that for wildlife? And not only that, it gives you twice the depth of field for macro photography. My God, this is flooded up here. So that means I can actually get a full 20 megapixels from my micro 4/3 sensor at 800mm. A lovely little bird just flew across there then. It's just in this bush here. Might have been a wren. Just having a look. But yeah, it's gone into the bush. Sure, I haven't got my wellies on today, so make sure I don't get my feet too wet. That is an embracing wind. It's going to be even worse when I get on top of the hill. I thought I'd talk about photography related stuff. And I'm going to go back now a good 10 years plus. And what, my God, this is going to be difficult to get through. Interesting. I think I'm going to have to go through the bush. Bear with me a second. That's the only way to get around that great big puddle without my wellies. Back into the mud. Anyway, sorry about that. What's coming up is the photography show. It was in London last year and there was lots of, unhappy people. But now it's back at the NEC Birmingham. And it's that thought of doing my registration to go there this year. It reminded me a good 10 plus years ago that I took along 20 images to have critiqued by a very well known Federation, society. I'm not going to say who it was, but I thought I'd take them along. And I was a bit disappointed. They were digital images I had on my iPad, so they had a good representation of the colours and that. So, booked my slot long ago, had 2 assessors, and I thought to myself, well, we're at the photography show. These guys must know what they're doing. First image that I brought up on my screen was a Buick Swan, which I'd taken at the WWT at Slimbridge. And within 3 seconds of seeing that image, it was swiped across. Do you know what the response was? Oh, we've seen lots of swans. That's no good. And I thought to myself, What should I say now? Let's go on to the next one. Kingfisher. I've seen lots of kingfisher swipe. Within 3 seconds, that one was gone. I thought, wow, what questions should I be asking them? Well, perhaps I should ask them, before they swiped across, did they consider how I took the picture, how difficult it was? What time of the day did I take the image? In fact, I took the image in winter time, one of the best times of the year. Lovely winter, sun's low in the sky, and the light is absolutely gorgeous. I underexposed by 2 full stops, so I didn't blow out any of the highlights in the feathers of the mute swan. I had lovely texture and detail in there. If you'd looked more closely, you would have seen that. And if you'd looked at the composition, you would have seen that I thought about the composition, how I sent it out. In fact, I shot wide, so in post I could get exactly as I wanted it. Did it have a wow factor? Well, yeah, it had a byway swan. Now, I travelled 2 hours to get to Slimbridge and back. Took my time, took the image, I processed it. Not only that, the byway swan had flown for thousands of miles. Well, perhaps not thousands, but certainly 1,000 miles, all the way from the Arctic, from Siberia, Russia. Come to Slimbridge, allowed me to take this image. One flick of the finger and it was gone. What was that about? I wanted to ask him, but I didn't. I wanted to see exactly what, and I looked across at the other assessor, and he agreed with him. I was absolutely gobsmacked. Anyway, as you could probably tell, from that point onwards, it didn't go too well. And that was my first critique of images that I put in now. If I wasn't a strong enough person, that could have really put me off. And a few years after that, I went along, I did a judging seminar and became a judge. And whenever I was judging images, I thought about the NEC. Remember once, I had this image, just turn across here now, absolutely gorgeous. Visibility is quite good. Just show you about these views up here. Got Morgan's Hill on the right at the moment. These views are just fabulous. Just look at that. Just absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Let's just have a little breather for a sec and just enjoy the scenery, because that's what we need to do. Yeah, I know you're waiting for me to find out what happened on this first. It wasn't the first, actually. It was after I've judged quite a few digital images and prints. In fact, I did quite a lot when we had the COVID period, when no one wanted to use Zoom, and I was quite happy using Zoom. I had this image once that was, it didn't have, let's say it just didn't have that wow factor. So another big puddle here. Bear with me a sec. I'm trying to get across here. Didn't have that wow factor that we're looking for. As soon as you see an image, you think, wow, that's great. But then you look at it again, you've got to make sure everything else is correct in it. But sometimes you don't care that the highlights are burnt out if it's got that wow factor. Wow. This particular image was of a brook, some trees. There wasn't really any centre of interest in it at all. It didn't have even a secondary point of interest that would have complemented the centre point of interest. So what was I going to say? Well, this person who put this image in, I don't know them. Could have been the first image they've ever put up for critique. And my critique of that image could have actually changed their whole outlook on photography. So, we need to be complimentary when we're judging. It's just going to be difficult getting through here. It's just looking so muddy. Bear with me a second. I've got to get through this section. I could fall in here and get very wet. Oh dear. That's my coat being skagged. Right, we're through that bit. I think I'll take a different direction back. So the first thing I said was perfectly exposed. Could have had a little bit more light in there just to give us a bit more depth of field into the image. I then said, look, you've nailed the focus. It's absolutely sharp and it was. So they've got all that right. Then you go into the critique where you can actually help them. Oh, I can't get through another section here. I think I'll go across the other side. It's really muddy. Oh, why didn't I choose a better location? Bear with me a second. This is going to be difficult. Barbed wire fence. Oh. If I go upside down, you'll have a laugh at least. Oh. Right, I made that safely. So that when you get a point of interest, use your feet, walk around, change the position. See if you can get a different vantage point where it actually looks nicer. Lower yourself, get to a higher vantage point, change the position, use your feet. You may have just a prime lens, which you can't zoom in and out. You need to do all these things and learn to post-process, because that is absolutely key. Now, I'm sure that person went away and they were quite happy. They had two real good points there. They've nailed the exposure and they nailed the autofocus. They nailed the focus. And then before I know, they may have had a manual lens. That's what I started off with in 1979. There was no autofocus in 79 when I purchased my first camera, my Canon AE1 program. I'm sure they went away happy. But we've had lots of judges over the years come to a club. I used to be a member of my local town. And they just used to, no compliments at all. You can hear the chatter from the back row of whinging about. So, we all know photography is subjective. But you must respect what the other photographer was looking to achieve. You just must. It's just respect. There's always something complimentary you can find out about an image. Sorry, I was laughing a little bit there because that image that I had to critique was pretty poor. But I found two good points that I could actually, it just brings a smile to my face every time I think about it. It had these two good points. So this is the byway I'm still on now, and we do get vehicles come around here. You can bring your 4x4 up here, you can bring your motorbike. In fact, we do get quite a lot of that. So you need to be a bit careful. You get horses, so I don't know how the horses get on when the 4x4s come by. And quite often you have a convoy of them. There's all groups of them that go out. Now that we've got a gate here into Morgan's here, which I will be taking. And I'm just going to take a pause now and take a break. And if I've got anything else to say, I will be back a little bit later. If not, I hope you've enjoyed this walk today. The rain's held off. Some birds up over there. How peaceful and quiet it is. Absolutely fantastic. Well, I'm back. I'm now at the high point inside of Morgan's Hill Nature Reserve. It's owned and managed by the Wiltshire Wildlife Trust. They've got quite a number of sites, I think maybe 35 or more throughout Wiltshire. And it's a great wildlife trust to maintain all the wonderful places we've got in Wiltshire. Now you're just looking across to the west now, and there's some rain over there, but the views are still really quite good today. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than this. In fact, it's starting to, we've got some light rain at the moment, but I'm just going to slowly pan across here I'm using just a DJI Action Pro 4, and I've got it on what they call rock steady, so it's a bit like having it on a tripod, because it just it stabilizes everything. I certainly need it because my hands can't hold the camera that good and pan around unless I'm on a gimbal. Uh-oh. Don't think you can hear that, but it's starting to rain a bit heavier now. I think I'm going to get wet. Never mind. I've got wet just about every day this month when I've been out for my walks, so what's one more day getting wet, eh? In January. I know we're in February now, but nearly every day in January I got wet when I went out for my walks. Some nice clouds starting to appear there. I haven't actually seen one person yet. I think to myself, wonder why that is. Why am I the only one out here? I just go, let's walk into the rain, eh? Let's enjoy the experience. I think you probably know the answer to that. It's probably the weather, the wind chill. But like I said, you've got to embrace it. My New Year's resolution this year was on the 1st of January to get out walking again. No matter what the weather's like. And I've done that every day for January. In fact, I've excelled. I want to do 1,000 miles in 2026. Now, I don't know if I'm going to achieve that. I could drop off at any point. But, in more ways than one, I think, perhaps. But I've done over 100 miles in January, so I've done well. My target was just 2.67 miles, no, 2.74 I think it is. Oh, I can't even remember now. There's a seat up here. I'm going to sit down in the rain on the top of Morgan's Hill Nature Reserve. I think it was about 2.74 miles. Just divide 1,000 by 365 and it'll tell you how many miles you've got to do. But I've done more than that for January, and it was a long month. My God, it wasn't a long month. All that rain. Oh, look at the mud where I've got to put my feet where I sit down. Who cares? Let's do it. Come all this way in the wind and the rain, and we just sit down. Make sure I don't knock my camera. Oh, look at that, I twisted that. I thought I had that Horizon auto leveling. Look at that, it's not doing it at all. Must have turned it off. Sorry about that. Well, I was driving up the hill in my car before I even turned into the parking area. I saw 2 red kites. That was fantastic. I haven't seen them since. Where are they gone? Where have they gone? They're here somewhere. They were quite close together as well. Now if I pan around here, we've got Lansdowne Monument. That's over at Chow Hill, near Chow Hill White Horse. Just see it coming over there. It's quite difficult to see on the GoPro. It's quite small actually. It's tiny. Even the mobile towers look small. I forgot how much of a field of view we've got actually on this wide-angle lens, even at the 1x focal length on it. So we've got a good signal here. Good signal. Good job I put my waterproof trousers on today. There we go. I did hear some voices a short while ago. It's very disappointing though. I haven't heard any yellowhammers. I don't think there's any here. Listen to that, apart from the wind, just silence. Look at that layer of cloud across there as well. That's quite imposing, isn't it? Look at that. Yeah, that is nice. Oh, look at those cloud layers as well. Well, I should get my 2.74 miles in, or is it 2.6 something? I should have remembered that, shouldn't I? I should have written it down. Anyway, it doesn't make any difference. I'm well over my average for January, so got a little bit in spare, let's say. A little bit to spare. It's quite a great spot for plane spotting up here, actually, because we're so high up. The planes come over reasonably low. Oops, sorry about that. If we're looking in that direction over there, if you see the tower, if we just come to the left a little bit, we've got what we call the quarry over the back there. It's a fantastic location for all the orchids on that embankment, just looking directly ahead now. We're basically looking across towards the Chair Hill and the Lansdowne Monument. It's a quarry. It's been a carved out area where they've been all the chalk stone, they've been taking it out, and it's a bit of a dip in the landscape, and some fantastic orchids over across there. Butterfly orchid, frog orchid, and many more. And I spent many a enjoyable time doing macro photography in the quarry over there, so it's well worth a visit. Well, I think I ought to start heading back, because I think this rain is it's going to get me in a minute. Oh, tipping the camera on again. Oh, sorry about that. I think I need to start heading back. And so I hope you've enjoyed that, and interesting to see exactly if it's going to stop. It generally stops raining by the time I get back to the car. It did that when I went out for my walk the other day. Anyway, that's me. And hope you've enjoyed this today for my walk at Morgan's Hill. Perhaps I need to do it on a more sunnier day, so you can really, perhaps a nice spring summer's day, and you can enjoy it a little bit more. Anyway, that's me out, and I'll catch you very soon.